We now go live to the Nintendo press conference where Masahiro Sakurai is going to make an announcement about Smash Bros.
Bring me everyone.
What do you mean everyone?
Everyone! So we all went into the Nintendo conference looking forward to a couple things, but we were all waiting on that Smash. We were all waiting to see what they would announce for the next Smash game, and what I love is they didn't treat that like it was a secret. They knew we were all waiting for that. Reggie said at the beginning of this entire show, yeah, Smash Bros is coming. Don't worry, it's coming. And they ended up dedicating half of their entire show just to talking about Smash Bros. And the insane thing about that is, they needed that time. I feel like they could have used more time on that. They actually had that much news to break about Smash Bros. And I was not expecting to really find out that much about it. I was expecting maybe like one new character or something here or there, but they wanted to come in here and let everyone know what returning characters would be in here. And it's like, okay, that's the boring stuff you have to get out of the way. Not that these characters are boring, not at all. They're amazing characters and they have carried this franchise and made us love this franchise so much, but you know, we're here for the new stuff. But we do have to know who from the old roster is returning. So it starts off and we see one of the older stages is like the main stage of Smash Bros, but it does look updated. I enjoyed seeing like all the new stuff that was broken in the background there. That was actually kind of cool. But Mario pops up. I was like, yeah, of course, Mario. Mario's in Smash Bros, everybody. And I love that they're putting in there the little numbers of everybody who had been in a Smash Bros game before. Like they were letting us know what order they had joined Smash Bros. That was a really nice little touch. So like Mario popped up and he was number 1, then Samus pops up and she's number 4. It's like, okay, that's kind of fun. And kept going and kept going. That was nice to see all these characters in there. We got to see that Zelda, she looked a little bit different. Some of the other characters, they looked a little bit different. We got a little hint of some of their smashes that were going to be different. Okay, that's really cool. They were teasing us here and there. They were giving us a video that was going to force us to sit down and watch this thing over and over again to analyze everything. And then Ryu popped up. And that's the thing, we had all been waiting to see who would be the returning guest characters. Because Sonic, you know Sonic's coming back. Sonic is practically sleeping on Mario's couch at this point. You know he's going to be in this game, alright? Pac-Man and Mega Man, if I had to bet on, I'd say they were going to be in this game. That seemed like a pretty safe bet. I mean, Capcom wants to promote Mega Man, and they want to apologize for not using Mega Man enough in the past, especially after how many people loved him in Smash. They're not going to take him out of Smash now, so yeah, that seems smart. Nobody's really doing anything with Pac-Man, so yeah, great, Pac-Man's in here. Yay, hooray. Okay, but when Ryu popped up, that was the one that made me go, oh, these guys might actually all be coming back. Okay, maybe not all of them, because no way is Cloud coming back. I mean, that was a one-time only deal. There's no way that's happening again. And then Cloud shows up. Cloud shows up, and I lost my mind, because now anything was possible. If you could get Cloud in here twice, you could get everybody from the old games back. And Nintendo knew that. This is why Nintendo proves to me over and over again, they know how to put on a show. Because as soon as Cloud popped up, they knew the audience would know, oh, everyone is on the table. Everyone could possibly be in this game. Could we even have Snake? And then the very next character that popped up was Snake. And he didn't appear like all the other characters who just jumped into battle. There were the sparks of lightning like a Terminator was about to appear. Then he just appeared on his stage. And then as soon as he stood up, he didn't attack, he didn't do anything. He just stood up and just said, everyone is here. Every single character who has ever been in a Smash Bros game is returning. And I love that right after they showed that, they showed Pichu, because I don't know about you guys, but that is immediately where my head went, because all those other characters, Cloud, Ryu, Snake, these were fan favorite characters who people have been begging to return. But Pichu was just a tiny version of Pikachu, and he even hurt himself when he uses powers. So when they got rid of Pichu, everybody was like, yeah, that's no skin off my back. It's fine. If you want to get rid of Pichu, that's okay. So it's brilliant that the next character they showed off was Pichu, because when everybody saw every character is returning, I guarantee you I am not the only one who immediately thought, even Pichu? Especially Pichu. It's like they knew that was going to be the question. It's like, Oh my god, all of them. Pichu's not returning, is he? No, Pichu's returning. Oh. Okay. You were serious about this. But the one that really got me is the one I forgot about. I knew all the characters in the Smash Bros. Games, but Kid Link used to be in this game. And they got rid of him to make way for Toon Link, which was a smart move because you don't need two tiny versions of Link in there. You get the one who has more personality, has more design to him, and would fight completely differently because he comes from a completely different line of games in there. You get Toon Link in there, and then you get Kid Link. Again, I had completely forgotten about Kid Link, so that was a huge surprise to me. And again, just like with Pichu, that was them turning to us and going, oh, we meant everyone. And again, it numbered every single one of these characters in the order in which they arrived in this game. And Inkling, we knew that the Inkling was going to be the new character in this game. She pops up, says 64 on there. There's over 60 characters in this fighting game. That is the largest roster I have ever seen in a fighting game. And the news kept getting better. And before I go any further, let me just go ahead and address something. This is insane. This is incredible. I'm so incredibly excited about this. But if you guys have watched me talk about video games before in the past, especially another franchise that was a crossover game, you know I criticize Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite pretty heavily because the roster was almost exactly the same from the last game. So I know some people might be asking the question, why were you wagging a finger at Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but you're applauding this game? Oh, a couple reasons. Just to go ahead and clear it up for the people who are going to ask that question. The main reason why I'm applauding this, but wagging my finger at that, is because that game took 80% of their roster was just from the previous installment of that game. And it's not because they included all the characters from the previous installment of that game and then added new characters onto it. They took the roster from the previous version of that game and cut 40% of it out. Then just gave us a couple new characters. One of those characters was even from a previous installment of this game. So a lot of people didn't even count that guy as a new character. This roster didn't cut anyone at all. It is all building upon it. And it's not just building, it's combining. It's taking the characters from one roster, who we always wanted to see fight characters in another roster. And now they're going to be able to finally freaking do that. It's because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite cut corners many times in many different places, removing fan favorite characters, relying on DLC, waiting for you guys to just spend more money on that thing, giving us a game that was smaller than the previous version of the game. This is the biggest version of this game that we have ever gotten. It's giving us everything. That's not cutting corners. That is working your ass off to make sure that you give someone the biggest version of a game you possibly can. As I said, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite went from roughly 50 characters down to 30 characters. This game is going up to 60. Not going down from anything to something else, going up to 60 characters. And that's just what we know now. They're going to keep adding new characters onto this. There came a moment after I realized, oh, this is going to be every character. I bet that's what this, okay. I kept hoping to see new characters in this. I bet you Inkling is probably the only new character we're getting because that would be too much work. That would be too insane. That would be too damn big. There's no way that they would be able to get a game out there in time with all the previous characters and new characters. Inkling's probably the only one that we're getting. And then at the end of this, when they revealed, nope, Ridley's in this game. Yeah, you know that character who you've been asking for forever. And we kept saying, no, we can't do it because they're too big. They're in this game. We just decided, screw it. It's fun, so we're doing it. That's why I love this so much. Every decision that I saw in this game looks like it had someone saying, screw it, it's fun, do it. That is what makes Smash Bros. Smash Bros. And this is why I applaud Nintendo so much. It's not that they look at something and go, well, that's fun, do it. Because if it was that simple, everyone would do that. Everyone wants to do what's fun because they know everybody likes fun. That's the literal definition of fun. It's a thing everyone likes. No one is that guy out there who says, I don't like fun things. Everyone likes fun things. But fun takes work. And in a fighting game, the really fun stuff are the little tiny itsy bitsy details. The more like little variations you can give us, the more variety you can give us, that makes these games fun, but that takes so much work. That's why companies will cut the roster of a game from one installment into the next. It was too hard to get all that many characters in there. Nintendo is not only increasing the roster bigger than freaking ever, they're putting in more variations to characters than I have ever seen in any fighting game in my life. For example, Ike from the Fire Emblem games. Yeah, he's been in the Smash Bros. Games before, everybody's enjoyed him, and of course he's back for this one, because everybody's back for this one. Oh, I can't wait to play as Ike again. But in the Fire Emblem games, Ike has had two different looks. So they decided to put both those looks in this game. Any other game out there would have charged you real world money to make this a DLC costume. Smash Bros. Just gave it to you. There. Why did they just give it to you rather than charging you money for it? Because it's fun. Because they know that the fans of Ike would really like that. And they wanted to give the fans something that they would really, really like. Because that's what Nintendo does. But Nintendo doesn't just stop there. They don't just stop at giving you for free the thing that any other fighting game out there would have charged you real world money for. They went in there and said, you know what, one of the reasons why he had two different looks is because one of the looks he was a little bit more grown and he was a little bit more gruff. So let's have the voice actor for Ike re-record every single line of dialogue in a slightly more gruff voice. Just slightly more gruff voice to show off the fact that yes, this is Ike from two different times in his life. This is two different versions of Ike. Do you know how much work that is? Do you know how far they had to go for that extra little bit? Just for something that simple? And that's not even the only character they did that for. They did with Bayonetta. Bayonetta's guns sound differently depending on which skin you pick for her because they sounded differently in the two different games that she had. That is the smallest detail. I probably never would have even noticed that if they hadn't pointed it out to me. But they thought about this. And they said, even if it is such a small detail that no one will notice, we'll notice it. And we want to get this as right as humanly possible. If you are a fan of these characters, we want you to be able to pick up these characters. But if you are a diehard fan, somebody who has memorized every single sound effect out of these characters, we want you to pick up this character and get yourself that little extra treat. We want to do something for you that will make you say, I can't believe they actually did that. And they are doing that with so many characters in this game. And those are the ones that you look at and it's like, I never even would knows that. But there's a lot of obvious ones in here. Like Pikachu. You can now choose male or female Pikachu. Because for anybody who doesn't know, female Pikachus have a little heart-shaped tail. But just to make that more obvious, the female Pikachus are wearing the freaking hats of the female trainer from the Alolan region. That is such a fun little thing to add in there. But they didn't stop there. Again, it's Nintendo. They go that extra freaking step. They've included our Pika. That's not their actual name. It's Pikachu Libre from the Pokken games. But I call her our Pika. They have included the wrestler Pikachu in here. Not as a separate character. Not as a separate character who they would come in here and claim is an extra character. And they're having them take up a spot in here. Even though we all know they're not really an extra character. Just as an extra skin for Pikachu. The Lucha Libre Pikachu is an extra skin for Pikachu, again, for free. You are not paying anything extra to get our Pika in this game. And speaking of taking a character and making an almost exact clone character of them, but then claiming they're a new character and having them take up an extra space in this game. Listen, I'm not a fan of when games do that. However, if you were going to have 60 characters in this game, I would let it pass. I would totally be okay with that, because once you get up to that many characters, I'm fine with a couple clones in here. That is A-okay to me, but Nintendo said that is not A-okay to us. That feels like cheating. We're not going to have a character take up a spot in here if they're just a mostly semi-95% clone of another character. So they have taken the characters of Dark Pit and Lucina, who just have the exact moves of Pit and Marth, and they have come in here and just now call them Echo characters. They no longer take up an extra slot in there, but if you go to that original character slot, you can then select on the Echo character, and you will be able to select that character. And this, again, is not an extra skin, which would have been nice in and of itself. That would have been something there to celebrate all on its own. But it's not just that. It is a new character, because they did tweak them. Things like how much damage they put out, how quickly they move, things like how far a special attack of theirs will take them. Those are all changed just slightly to make them feel like different characters, and of course they have different voice actors come in there and voice all of these characters and write unique dialogue for every single one of these characters and give them specific things to say that are unique just to them. Any other game would have considered that, yeah, that is absolutely its own unique character. Nintendo was like, no, not taking up an extra spot on this roster, but we're still gonna put him in this game. I love this idea. I do. I will admit, I wish they had done that with Dr. Mario. I wish that they had just said, yeah, Dr. Mario is just basically Mario, except he hits a little bit harder and he shoots out pills instead of fire, but the pills move at the exact same rate and trajectory as the fire, so it's basically exactly the same thing, and it is an Echo character, and they're not doing that, so that's a little bit weird that they're not doing it with him, but they're doing it with Lucina and Dark Pit. But that would be enough in and of itself. But they're not going to stop with just Dark Pit and Lucina. They're going to add in there new Echo characters, and I love that. I love that so much, because there are so many characters over at Nintendo, well, yeah, you can look at them and go, yeah, they're kind of similar to this other character, so I would love to have them in Smash, but there's no way they'll get in Smash because they're too similar to that other character. Nintendo has literally created an excuse to be able to use these characters solely because they know fans will want to see these characters, but they couldn't bring themselves to create an entire new slot on the roster just for them. Just think about that. Think about how any other company out there would have gone, oh my goodness, we can just make these characters slightly tweaked from the previous version of this character and then claim it's a brand new character and the fans will applaud us for that? That's a win-win all around. And Nintendo said, no, in our hearts, we know that's not a win. That's how I assume that Reggie talks when he's off camera. I assume when he's off camera, he has just this very commanding, just I am in control of this entire company voice. So they came in here and came up with a new classification of characters so that way the fans can have exactly what they want and they still get to like hold on to that and no repeat characters when they point at their big board. And they showed off Daisy. I've been wanting Daisy in this game forever, and I'll admit, if you guys have watched those lists that I put together of characters that I want in Smash Bros, I have brought up Daisy and I have said, hey man, I would love to see Daisy in this game, but have her be like the representative of the Mario sports games. Have her like attack with soccer balls and volleyballs and basketballs and tennis rackets, because she was always a little bit more sporty than Princess Peach. So yeah, I would love to have seen her like that, but yeah man, I knew that was a shot in the dark. So we still have Daisy. We got Daisy in this freaking game, and they just threw it out there. They didn't make a big, huge announcement about it because they were like, yeah, man, it was easy to make her. We can do that, no problem. And I look at this and I realized there's so many more characters we could get. Just imagine all the other characters we can now get in here, and it wouldn't take them too much effort, and they could come in a free update to this game down the road. Down the road, they could just go, you know, we thought of 3 more Echo characters we wanted to create, so bam, they're in the game now. Enjoy. You didn't have to pay us anything. It's just there for fun. That speaks to what Nintendo is. That speaks to why I love Nintendo. Some of the other big changes they made to these characters, Link will now be the version of Link from Breath of the Wild. Ganon will go back to being the version of Ganon from Ocarina of Time. And Zelda is going way back to be her version of the character from A Link Between Worlds. I love this. I love that we are no longer relying on just one version of Legend of Zelda to be the official representation of all these characters. Legend of Zelda has a long history with many different incarnations of these characters. I love that they actually looked back and said, okay, let's get as many different versions of these characters as we can. Let's actually embrace the history of Legend of Zelda. Another big change is that the Pokemon Trainer, which that was the one that when they popped up, I cheered the loudest. I've been waiting for Pokemon Trainer to come back. Pokemon Trainer's coming back, and now you can pick, just like in the Pokemon games, male or female. You can be the male trainer, or you can be the female trainer. You have the female trainer in there with shinies. She's not even just using the same Pokemon. They're the shiny versions of these characters. You know everyone is going to pick the female trainer because everybody wants that shiny Charizard. Now this was actually kind of a big announcement that they made. All of the characters' final smashes are now instant moves. In the past, you would have characters whose final smashes would be they transform into something, and then you would take control of them as you move them around the field. Like Sonic would turn to Super Sonic, and then you would move Sonic around the field as Super Sonic, and he would do damage to characters when he ran into them. Or like, say, Donkey Kong. He would pull out the bongos, and you would then have to control how he's hitting the bongos to do damage to other characters around you. Another good example is Bowser. Bowser would turn into this giant version of Bowser, or Little Mac would turn into Giga Mac, and the two of you would go around the field just fighting people in those forms. That's not happening anymore. Now, final smashes are one move, and that move actually does a ton of damage to whoever it hits. Wham, bam, all over. I know some people are going to be mad about that. I know there's probably a lot of people out there who really enjoyed those moves where you would turn into something and you would run around the field. I hated that. I never enjoyed those final smashes simply because, yeah, those were the easiest to avoid. With Final Smash, you want to be able to trap an opponent. You want to be able to look for that perfect opening where they're vulnerable, and then you go in, you hit them, and bam, you do the move, it's over with. When you turn into a big thing, they can jump around you while you're trying to hit them. It's actually kind of easy for them to avoid you. So yeah, I just never really enjoyed that. So this takes care of a big problem of the Smash Bros. Games with me. Again, I know some people never had that problem, some people love those moves, so I'm sorry that you no longer have them, but man, again, it's like Nintendo just has given me everything I could have wanted with this game. There's so many little details that they add in here just to please the fans, for no purpose other than just to please the fans. It is mind-blowing me. Like, the fact that Mega Man, in the last game, when he did his Final Smash, he would summon out all the other versions of Mega Man to attack. That's a great move. That is actually a huge love letter to the fan base. Now, he does the same thing, but he also summons out Proto Man and Bass. Why does he do that? Do they do extra damage? No, because it's fun. Because it's there for the fans. Dear God, I am just Nintendo, every year you remind me of why I love you guys so much. But as I said, it's impossible to list off all the things that they're doing just for the fans in here. However, there are other changes that they're making to the game that actually make it a better fighting game, in my opinion. To me, the one that I am the most excited to see in here is that before there would be a dodge mechanic, and now there's an air dodge mechanic, which is actually great for air recovery. I'm actually looking forward to that for characters like Little Mac, who had a hard time recovering in the air. In fact, they even showed Little Mac doing it because they knew, yeah, he was the hardest one to save when he got in the air. But when you're on the ground and you're dodging, after you dodge, there will be that brief moment where you're vulnerable. But the more you dodge in succession, the more you dodge one after another, the longer that vulnerability will last. In other words, they scale it. So the longer that you can dash depends on how long you've been dashing. So if you dashed for just one time, okay, it goes for this amount of time. You dashed 3 times in a row, that last dash was not as long, and also now you're vulnerable for a little bit longer in there. And I am so happy to see that. It feels almost like other fighting games should have adapted that. That is a really smart move, because I watch some streamers who are like high-level Smash Bros. Players, and it is just nothing but dodge, 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 dodge. It's like 10% actually fighting each other, 90% dodging each other's attacks over and over again. They put that in there to go, no, you have to smash. You have to actually fight each other. Good for them. And it's not like a huge thing. It's not like, oh man, now if I dodge 2 times in a row, I'm sunk. But no, you dodge like several times in a row, and now, yeah, you've done too many times. You have to go in there and actually start attacking. You have to start blocking. You have to start dodging without the actual dodge button. You have to start jumping around them. You can't just keep timing that one button correctly. It makes this game something that is so much more engaging. You get so much more involved in this game now that, like, that one trick that you had mastered to get out of these situations, oh, it ain't gonna work quite as well anymore. You're now going to have to learn other skills. Holy cow, there's so much still to talk about in this. I just checked and I was like, yeah, I'm almost done. I've covered pretty much everything. No, man, I haven't even talked about the new Pokemon that are in there. We saw Beware in there doing a Shoryuken on Ryu, which was a nice little touch. But also, I saw online everybody was grabbing screen caps of the Nintendo Treehouse when someone threw a Pokeball and a Alolan Raichu came out. They didn't even show that during the actual conference itself, but it's in the game, and I love that they are having these people play this all weekend long, and it's just a pretty much complete version of this game, including with Pokemon and assist trophies that they didn't even talk about. Speaking of assist trophies, Bomberman is an assist trophy. I remember people kept asking for Bomberman to actually be a playable character in here, and Nintendo was just like, yeah, how about an assist trophy? They couldn't give him to us as a character. They gave him to us in whatever way they possibly could. Nintendo going above and beyond. And here to me is what is one of the most impressive features of the game is. Pretty much every stage from every version of this game is returning as well, which is huge. I can't believe we're going to have that many stages in this game. That map is going to be gigantic when you go to select your stage. But every single version of these stages have the regular and the Omega form. Now for anybody who doesn't know, that means that there will be the regular version of it, which will have all of the traps, all of the mazes, all of the weird stage hazards in there. It will be changing and moving around constantly. But it will also have the super simplified version. For anybody who doesn't want to mess with all that stuff, there will be the version that is just the flat plane, maybe a platform here, a platform there, at most 3 platforms, 1 on top. That's it. No stage hazards, no nothing. For those people who don't like those random X factors being thrown in and just want to play the simple version, every single map will have that. Think about the amount of work that took. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe they are doing that much for this game. Now, let me just go ahead and say that there's 2 things in here that people have been waiting on, and we didn't see that here in this show, and it's got people thinking, okay, they might not actually be in this game. One of them, oddly enough, is Waluigi. Again, I still, to this day, have not figured out why so many people love Waluigi. I don't understand it, but hey man, you like the characters that you like. So if you guys all love Waluigi, awesome. But I know so many people have been asking for Waluigi to be in Smash for so long. And then he pops up in here as an assist trophy, just like he was in the last game. And I have seen so many people online just in tears over, no, another Smash game where Waluigi won't be a playable character. Hey man, I understand. The number 1 Nintendo character I want to see in this game is Midna, and she popped up in here as an assist trophy as well. However, let me throw out there a crazy idea to you guys. What if the reason why they're in here as assist trophies is because this game isn't just bringing back every single past character, every single past stage, but every single past Pokeball and every single past assist trophy? What if it's bringing back every single thing from the previous games? So that means that if you were an assist trophy, they are bringing you back for this game. That doesn't mean that you can't also be a new character. Now what I mean by that is that when you pick up an assist trophy, basically there is like a random number generator that goes through basically every single possible assist trophy. Now I'm sure that some of them have a higher probability of showing up than others. I'm sure that the really big powerful ones are really rare so that you land on them less often. But that's basically how they decide what assist trophy pops up. What if Waluigi is in this game and they just put a thing in there where if you pick up and are going to use Waluigi, they just remove him from the possible assist trophies during that match. Just for that one match. If Waluigi is not in the match, he's in there as an assist trophy. But if you pick him as a playable character, hey, when you pick up an assist trophy, he is not one of the variables that it could land on. He is not one of the characters that that random number generator could possibly land on and produce that character from the assist trophy. I know some people might be saying, that's a crazy idea, and they could never do something like that. What I just described is actually incredibly simple, and we've actually seen other fighting games do similar stuff like that in the past. I mean, heck, you could go way back to Mortal Kombat. You remember in Mortal Kombat 2, when you would play on that one stage and Shao Kahn would be in the background, sitting on a big throne? But then if you were fighting Shao Kahn on that stage, he would not be seen in the big throne? They've literally been able to do stuff like this since the 90s. We've seen it in other fighting games, like in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Trombone was in that game, and she was in the background on one of the stages, but if you decide to play as Trombone, she was not in the background of that stage. This is an incredibly simple thing to do, so what I'm trying to say is, there's an easy way to still get Waluigi in here as a playable character, and as an assist trophy at the same time. So everybody, just be chill. Just relax. You can still get him in this game. Hope is not dead. Now, in all seriousness, the main thing that people actually want in this game is another story mode. They want to see Subspace Emissary return. They want some big crazy storyline in which all 60 of these characters are all going to team up. And hey man, I'm right there with you. I want that too. I would love to see something like that in this game. And considering that the entire point of this game is to combine everything that we love from the previous games all into one, I'd really like to see something like that. But they didn't show anything like that in this conference. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, I guess it's just not going to be there. If it's not in there, I will be disappointed because Subspace Emissary is one of the best things in the entire history of Smash Bros. So if it's not in there again, I will be a little upset. But hey man, 60 plus characters, every stage from every previous version of the game with 2 different versions of those stages, so many of these characters having multiple different versions of themselves. That is so much work put into that. I'm fine. If you don't bring back Subspace Emissary, you gave me so much other stuff in here. I'm really excited just for what you gave me. However, as I said, at the moment, they are currently playing this on the Nintendo Treehouse. And I've been watching that and going, this looks like it's almost done. How is it going to take 6 more months for this thing to come out? Looking at this, it looks pretty much complete right here. Now again, for a fighting game, there's a lot of extra polish and balancing that goes into something like this, especially when you have that many characters. Yeah, it's going to take several more months for them to get this just right. Or, it could be pretty much done right now. And they're going to spend 6 months getting something really big and secret ready for this. I mean, heck, this was just where they really made the big announcement of what Smash Bros. Unlimited is going to be. We have 6 more months of surprises coming. And if you have followed the history of any of these Smash Bros. Games before, you know they like to wait and just give you one little surprise here, wait another month, another big surprise there. They never reveal everything at once. They do an amazing job of spacing out those surprises. And honestly, that's the thing that has me the most excited after this, after we saw Ridley at the end of this, and I realized, oh, we are just going to keep getting new characters in here. It made me realize we have 6 more months of just, here's a new character, here's a new character, here's a big surprise over here. So they could still announce this. They could be saving that for later. I mean, you know they're going to have a special Nintendo Smash Bros. Conference all in and of itself. We are going to get a special show just about that somewhere down the line. They don't have to announce this stuff during E3. That's the thing you have to remember about Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't care about E3. This is almost like a contractual obligation for them. Just to show up and go, yeah, hey, let's come in here and win this thing again, okay? So they came in here just to knock everyone's socks off, and it's like, yeah, you want more? Follow us online. We'll have bigger announcements coming. We got more to say. Don't you worry. There's always more with Nintendo. So yeah, I do think we have even more giant announcements coming. So a story mode still not out of the question. It actually makes sense to me why they wouldn't want to reveal that at the same time that they reveal every character is in here. So yeah, I'm still looking forward to that. I think that that is still a possibility. But even if it isn't a possibility, hey man, I'm still excited for the 60 characters, which is another thing that I have to bring up. Again, there's so much to talk about in this. I keep forgetting big things I want to bring up. I hate that the current landscape of fighting games is, look at all these characters. That's it. You want more characters? Pay us. I miss when I was a kid, if there were going to be extra characters in the game, they were unlockables. You would play the game and suddenly, bam, oh my goodness, that's that character I was waiting on. They're here, I can finally use them now. They said that in this game with 60 plus characters, the starting roster would be the same size as the original Smash Bros. The original Smash Bros had like, I think 8 characters to start with and then 4 unlockable characters, so like 12 in there, so we'll just round it around to like 10. That means that there are going to be roughly 50 unlockable characters in this game. And I know that there are some people out there who are going to be mad about that. Because they're going to say, listen, I don't want to play as those original characters. I know the character I like. I want to get the character I like. I don't want to play as these other characters for hours and hours and hours to get the character that I like. I feel bad for you. I do. I am sorry that that is what you're going to have to deal with now. But again, I can only speak for myself. And speaking as somebody who misses the day of unlockable characters, the fact that this game is going to have roughly 50 unlockable characters, the replay value. That is what I look for in fighting games. The replay value. I have never heard of a game with this much replay value. I have never heard of a game that will reward you this much for continuing to play it. That's why I like unlockable characters. It's a reward for continuing to play the game. This is crazy to me. This is unheard of. That you are going to have 5 times the number of unlockable characters that you have in the starting roster. Nintendo, this is madness. But the best kind of madness. Madness that rewards you for coming back again and again and again. And I have no idea how many other characters are going to be announced for this. Again, we have 6 more months for them to just keep coming out here and announcing more characters. But I can't imagine that many more. I can't imagine them continuing to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with this thing, because 60 characters, that's huge already. It's going to take them so much work just to get this thing functioning. But you know how I just mentioned that I hate that new characters are always DLC? I am fine with DLC new characters when you give us 60 characters up front and every stage from the previous games and so many other rewards. And I started thinking about the DLC characters from the last Smash Bros. Game. We got Cloud, we got Bayonetta, we got big names. Some of the hugest characters in that entire game were the DLC ones, and I'm looking at what we got now, and yeah, I had that thought for a moment of, what the heck are the DLC ones gonna be? If they're giving us Cloud as a starter, if the game begins with Cloud and Bayonetta and Ryu all in there, who are the ones that are gonna be so special we're gonna have to pay for them? Again, I poo-poo on DLC characters 90% of the time, because 90% of the time fighting games come in here and just go, yeah, we don't have to give you a good base to this game, because we can just nickel and dime you with the DLC characters. It's like Marvel vs. Capcom, it's like Street Fighter V. Yeah, we don't have to give you squat when the game begins, because we know that you'll come back for that DLC. This game, on the other hand, is giving me a really damn good base. I am totally okay with you coming in here and just nickel and diming me with DLC characters when you gave me 60 characters, 50 of whom I am going to have to spend hours upon hours upon hours unlocking in this game. I am so excited for this to come out. I can't even believe that this is coming out so soon. I can't believe this is coming out this year. Again, I think Microsoft probably won in terms of which company did the best, but no game blew my mind like this one did. And this wasn't even a surprise. Resident Evil 2, that put a big old smile on my face because I did not see that coming. Devil May Cry 5, did not see that coming. We knew this was coming. They even told us at the front. Yeah, man, we all know why you're here. We'll get to it in just a moment. Let's look at these other games first. But then we're gonna get to Smash. Don't worry, it's coming. We know you know it's coming. And they still found a way to blow my mind with this. I got nothing left to say. That was it. That was the last conference. We have now talked about every single one of the big conferences at E3 this year. I thank you guys for watching all these videos. We're not done talking about E3 though, because I am going to come in here with my big final analysis this weekend. I'm going to come in here, give you my top 10 games I'm looking forward to, and if you have been following us over on Twitch, you know we have actually been streaming every one of the conferences. And we've been talking with the chat, we've been doing commentary over it, we've been giving you my thoughts live as it's happening. I'm going to come in here, create like a little best of collection of all of those Twitch streams. I'm going to come in here, take some of my favorite moments from all those Twitch streams, put them all together, put them up here on YouTube. And also, I'm going to reward all those people who've been following me on Twitch, because those videos I just talked about, the E3 summary, the top 10 games I'm looking forward to from E3 this year, they will be premiering first on Twitch. I'll be putting them up roughly a day before I upload them here on YouTube, just as a way of thanking all the people who have stuck with me on Twitch. Thank you guys for tuning in. My throat is destroyed after talking about all these events, but I don't care. I have the energy to keep going because goddammit, I love video games just that much. E3 was great this year. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Bye everyone.